Hello and welcome. This is going to be the first episode of Mini Journeys, and we are going to be talking to people who like to hobby, war game, whatever. And this is also a little bit of an intro for you to get to know me and other people. So, this is number one. So, I figured it would be great to have Olivia as my first guest. She is my best friend, and we met through wargaming. So, I felt like it was great. Little one where we could talk about how we met, where we came from, stuff like that. So, do you mind introducing yourself with like your name, pronouns? I know, and Olivia does not do social media. So you can't find her.
Yeah, you won't be able to drop my handle in any way. But I am Olivia. You, I was gonna say back when I was on social media, people knew me as Olo. Um, and I hobby. I am in the miniatures hobby and then in the board game industry working. So I'm kind of deep into a lot of this network. Pronouns are she, her. Yeah, I we've talked about this before of like, how we've come to meet each other and everything. And it's through miniatures.
Yes.
I've made some of my best connections through this hobby. Um, so I love being able to talk about it. I
Yeah.
love being able to talk about it. I love seeing, what's next in the hobby.
Right. This is why Olivia is perfect for first episode to kind of just talk back and forth, so that y'all get to, you know, get an idea of what I'm hoping to accomplish with mini journeys, so we can figure out who's what. So, let's get started then. What got you started well, I guess what got both of us started into minis or wargaming? Do you want to go first or
Go first because my story is shorter. My story.
wow, okay.
Um, It's like you've been around for some time. There's a lot to share, and there's a little bit less that I have to share. Um, the main thing was really board games. So I started gaming as a hobby. I think over a decade ago, well over a decade ago now, and kind of in that like peak renaissance of board gaming where like we really started to get a lot of games with miniatures included. And One of my best friends and I were like really excited to paint the miniatures from our board games. So we signed up for a class at Gen Con in order to kind of learn what it's like to paint these. And that immediately took off from there. We really focused on like board game stuff at the beginning. And then finally, I had been wanting to do Warhammer minis and different games, because I always saw all the miniatures at my friendly local game store and was like, when do I start? Is this easy? Is this approachable? And I saw a video that normally a content creator who does board game reviews. Two women, they did a how to play Age of Sigmar. It was one of the releases a couple years ago. God, it's been like 6 or 7 years now. And I saw that and I was like, there's women in this space. There are other people other than cis het men. And so kind of seeing that really propelled me into like, oh, maybe I'll go pick up my first couple of minis and see where it goes. And it has just unfolded since then. I'm not gonna lie, I never learned how to play Age of Sigmar. Don't ask me about it. I still don't
It's
know.
okay. I
Do I
don't know
have a
how to
ton
play
of
either.
Yeah, it's like I've got all the minis for it. I got squigs now for normal Warhammer 40K, but never learned. Too many dudes on a map. I don't know that I ever will learn it, and it's constantly changing because Games Workshop is always updating rules. But yeah, My entry to the hobby was through board gaming, and because board gaming kind of stepped out more and had more minis in it, that brought me into the, "Oh, these are the quality of these minis aren't great, so I would like to try something where the quality of the minis are a little bit better, it's easier to paint,"
Mhm.
and thus I ended up here somehow.
Good job, you did it. Um,
Yeah, I did.
yeah, that is a much shorter like story than for me.
Yeah,
For me, I got started in when I was 12, which was 1996, and one of my friends came back from winter vacation. His dad lived on the East Coast. I lived in Arizona at the time, and he came back with this box of it was from Warhammer Fantasy. It was the Bretonians and Lizardmen box, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" I'd already been playing some Magic and a little known other card game called Rage the Apocalypse. It's a werewolf trading card game. And I just fell in love with
that's so peak
it
you
really
too, where it's like, "Yeah, no, of course, yeah."
yeah, I love werewolves, so we'll see probably
Yeah.
more werewolf miniatures or something in the future. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was already like into fantasy. I was already reading tons of fantasy books, so this was just really up my alley. So I bought some Skaven. Wow, is that a bad choice for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, especially 12, 13-year old kid? Um, but I was really good at painting for my age. Actually, at 13, I won second place at a painting contest. There was only three people for fantasy, but I actually won second place. So
Second's great.
yeah, so that that was my first one. And I actually like they didn't have like a kids division because well, me and my friends were the only ones who were like under 18
Yeah,
there. Anyway, so I got into that. We eventually got into 40K. Again, I only had a few miniatures just because back then so much of it was metal. And it was expensive. I mean,
yeah,
it's expensive now, but it was very expensive for somebody who didn't really get a regular
yeah,
allowance, and a lot of other there's a lot of other financial reasons why it's maybe not the best. That's the great age for people to get into it, like they get interested in it, but it's definitely monetarily. If your parents are not willing to pay the money, it is not great. But anyway,
yeah,
got into
yeah.
role playing games, more into video games. I was always into video games, but um, kind of took a sideline, and then I got back into Warhammer when I moved to Seattle because there was a Games Workshop store. I was like, oh, it'll be a great way for me to meet some new people. And I actually made friends almost immediately with Warhammer 40K. Granted, I didn't really stick with it for a while. I think like maybe 2 years, and then I got into War Machine. Became a press ganger for War Machine. Ran a ton of events. Um, some big events, and I ran events every month, sometimes twice a month for over 4 years. And I've done other miniatures games too. I've played countless different ones, at least once,
Yeah,
given them a try
yeah,
or whatever. I'm not a serious wargamer. I like to play. I like to buy the stuff and play it, but I'm not a serious player, and I'm not a competition painter. I've won bronze at a privateer press painting competition for like within the last 10 years, but
yeah.
but I'm not like high end competition. I'm kind of like in the middle. Like my stuff is better than uh what you're normally looking at, but yeah, that's how I got started into it. Not great paints, not great miniature choices, but that's kind of where you're at now. I have like a ton of them sitting in the other room, and I think a few of them behind me even. So yeah. So
I have so many on my wall that are currently
oh
unpainted.
yeah.
Don't judge, here's one of
Oh,
my
show and
treatment
tell.
from school. It's fine. They're haunting me. They're just looking at me like, when are we going to get painted?
Yeah, that's why I have mine in
Someday.
the other room, so I don't have to look at them at my computer.
I need to put them in a box and be like, I don't know.
So, speaking of those treatment that you should be working on, what are you working on? Are you working on anything right now as far as like hobby or playing?
Yeah, my group has been changing because guys keep having children and we'll like lose someone, gain someone, somebody else will have a kid, we'll lose them. So right now it's three of us, which as everybody listening has to know, three is not enough for me. There three you need either two or four. It needs to be in pairs of twos.
3 is a tough
So
one.
trying to find something that plays three well is pretty hard. But we're playing the Space Gets campaign. Um, I'm it's genuinely so much fun. Um, it's another one, Mike who did Gaslands. I always forget his name
I
and I
think it's Mike
probably should remember
Hutchinson.
it. Hutchinson, thank you. I was like,
Mhm.
I know it starts with an H. Who did Gaslands? He's created a new game called Space Gets. It's very easy, in my opinion, like entry level. Play with the minis that you have.
Oh, yeah. I have the
So
book,
we
but I
did a
haven't
bunch
played
of
it.
uh, you should bring it for Adepticon. I might bring because it's just so easy. It's just so easy and dumb. Um, but yeah, I have been working on kit bashing some minis for that. I have a team of four now. Just some orcs, just some little orcs. But it's been fun because I haven't attempted to kit bash really prior to this that much.
Mhm.
So trying to learn how to do that has been pretty exciting. Even though I screwed up one of my minis
That's
already,
okay, it's
it's
an orc.
fine. It's fine.
I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
fine. I'm learning to not
I
care.
feel like kit bashing has really gone by the wayside. It used to be such a major
Yeah.
part conversions. Converting it was always like, oh, you should do this, and now it doesn't really feel like they really want you to do it as much. It's really interesting to
Yeah.
see how one place has gone to another. In fact, I don't really do a lot of converting myself. I actually did a lot of conversions for my Space Wolves. I have some pretty
Oh, yeah, yeah.
heavily converted Thunderwolf cavalry, but I haven't really touched them in a while. Maybe we'll talk about those at some point, um, but for me, I haven't really touched anything right now. I think right now I've just been doing. I got two Gunpla kits, so I have been working on those slowly, and I I should be finishing some Blood Bowl stuff. Uh, I I originally signed up to do a painting contest, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll get these done," and I never touched them. I was like, and I knew it as soon as I was like, as soon as I said, "Yes, I'll do this," I was like, "These are not going to get done." I don't know if anybody else has felt that way, but as soon
Never.
as you
Yep.
yeah, as soon as you say you
Yep.
put it out there on the internet, you're like, well,
Yeah.
these rats and goblins, my underworlds team might as well not exist at all. Uh,
Yeah.
so, I really wanted to finish work on my free blades because they have some really great stuff at Adepticon, but it just didn't happen. And so I just think like I'm just gonna be doing whatever kind of floats my boat. Maybe I'll just actually finish those gunpla kits so that they're not haunting me anymore.
Yeah, my Blood Bowl Gnomes team definitely needs even though even though we're not doing the competition later in the year, I want to finish the gnome team first because I've got really big plans that include a class that I'm taking at Adepticon. So they need some love, and also I just need to sit down and really hone in
Mhm.
on painting. I feel like always the like 2 months prior to Adepticon is kind of a mix of me being like, I don't have any time. I need to finish this by Adepticon. And also the like, I don't know, nothing matters. I don't feel like doing
I
this right
I
now.
really definitely feel like that right now. And,
Yeah.
as far as like, well, we're recording this episode, it's less than a month to Adepticon. Um,
Yeah.
and
Oh, don't say
I
that. Oh,
know.
don't
I
say
said it.
that.
I said it now, and it's going to lead us into our next thing of what are you looking forward to? And number one is Adepticon. Um, I
Yeah.
know that me and
Yeah.
Olivia both agree that it's probably, and for me, it's my favorite convention, hands down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been going to conventions, not counting that one that the little tiny gaming one that I went to when I was 13 that I, just spoke about with a painting contest. If you don't count that one, because it was like when I was 13, I wasn't going to conventions consistently until
Yeah.
2002. Um, so
Until 2002, which was 24 years
yeah,
ago.
I've been going to at least one convention a year since 2002. Um, we're going to ignore the height of the pandemic during that time period because nobody was going to
Yeah.
conventions at that
Yeah.
point. But yeah, since then I've gone to at least
Except those of us that were doing virtual conventions, because I'm not gonna
well,
I attempted that, and then immediately was like, "This is not the same. I can't
I
do
mean, and
it."
also there were conventions at the very beginning of 2020, but regardless,
Yes, yes,
I've gone to a lot of conventions, and I feel like Adepticon is easily my favorite. It's not the biggest, it's not the smallest,
yeah,
but and I was even talking to my friend Dan. I was like, "It's my favorite," and he's like, "Yep, me too."
yeah, yeah,
So I know there's like a few other little things in between, but yeah, for Adepticon, and that's actually the convention where me and Olivia met at the Gender Minority Meetup that Terry started. Shout out to Terry, even though she hasn't come to Adepticon the last few years.
yeah,
But she did. But my first Adepticon was actually Olivia's first Adepticon, which is just really fun. 2000,
yeah,
so 2023 was our first year of Adepticon. My friends had already been going for a few years by then. My friends from Seattle, and I had to talk my work into letting me go because I used to be a buyer. For miniatures at a small chain of game stores. So I was like, hey, could you pay for me to go to Adepticon and I
yeah,
can like take a look at stuff, see previews, do demos? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And I was able to do that for 2023 and 2024. Um, so like I did a lot of demos. I did a lot of seminars for panels. I think I did one painting class because it was like, hey, this is how you use our paint. And I was like, well, it's a paint that we sell. And I want to make sure that I can take this information and show it to the employees. Be like, hey, this is what this does. We sell it. This will help you learn how to sell it better. So that was really my first. That was basically my first 2 years of Adepticon, except for the gender minority group, because I was like, you know what, I'd like to meet some other people who are, similar,
yeah,
have like maybe a similar background to me. And as somebody who goes through the wargaming space and passes extremely well, even though passing is stupid and should not exist, it's
mm,
definitely a reality. Um, I passed really well. I had coworkers who had no idea uh, until like last year,
yeah,
and they were like, "Wait, what?" Uh, so for me, I was like, I really want to meet people who have kind of a similar background to me, and I was
mhm,
like, but I was so nervous going to it. But Terry, who was the first person who she ran it in 2023, the originator of the event, she welcomed me and everybody else who got there. It was I as soon as I started talking to people, that nervousness went away. So
no, the Gender Minority Meetup was a huge deal, and I felt silly at it too because that year was my first Adepticon, um, and I was really new to actually, like, playing competitively and, like, painting in generally. So, like, showing up to that, I remember thinking, like, "Oh, no one's gonna wanna," like, I'm just someone here in the space, and we don't need to, like, No one needs to focus on me. And it was very much just like a safe place. And Terry made such a good job, just like making sure everybody felt comfortable and was able to like talk to one another about anything that we feel impacts us as someone who is a gender minority within the hobby
Mhm.
space.
Or just even
So
just
I am,
chatting. That I mean, it was just yeah.
yeah, yeah, and like I'm looking around and seeing some of the mini content creators that I loved very deeply. That was it's always a very parasocial moment where you don't want to. I don't know. It's much more looser in minis. Like you go up to somebody who creates content and they like genuinely want to talk to you. And I
Oh,
felt
100%.
silly as all heck. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. You probably don't want to hear from me. I think I screamed. Who did I scream at when I met? And it was dumb. I think I was just overwhelmed. I can't remember. There was somebody that like I turned around, saw her, and screamed. And was just like, that's not the type of experience you want to have. And also, sorry, I'm just so excited to meet you. But the gender minority meetup was really, really great for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And when I went there, I really clicked with Jamie, who is a mutual friend of ours.
Mhm.
And I was like, because she had like certain stickers on her painting case, and we were just, I mean, instantly clicked. We were like, oh yes, let's talk, let's be friends. And like you were friends with her already. And so
Mhm.
I was like, okay, here is another person who is tangentially related to this other person that I got along with. So like in the halls, it would be like I'd be like hi, and I'd like want to hang out, but I was like no, I can't. Like it's too weird. Like it just the vibes weren't there yet.
Yeah. Also, you were approaching adept like I always find this interesting when we talk about it because you have a very unique perspective as a buyer and wanting to bring back what you've learned there back to your store and back to the employees that you worked with at that time to like actually provide feedback on paints and brushes and new miniatures games and all of that.
Totally.
And I remember feeling very like yeah, like you're here for a job, you're doing the job things when there's a lot of overlap with that and being able to talk about that with
Yeah,
friends and get your perspectives
yeah.
yeah,
There
it's always thrilling to sit down with you and chat about those
there's
things.
a lot of, I mean, that's why I was the buyer, because I had so much experience with miniatures that I just was like, yeah, let's go. And it
Yeah.
was a perfect fit. Um but yeah, throughout that first one, I was kind of like, oh cool, like these are some people, and I'd say hi. And met a few other people who are also streamers. And like it all just felt like, oh, we're just here hanging out. Like it doesn't feel high pressure like at some conventions where like I feel like they're like, oh, this person's a content creator. But anyway, but then we go to the next year, 2024, and I'm there again as a buyer. And this is still when it's at Schaumburg. So we still have this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was very different than what it is now at the Baird Center. But 2024 come around, I'm still a buyer. I do the same things. I kept one day to do one event. I played in a judgment tournament, did do great, but that's okay. I had fun, um, and I we s- I there was no minority meetup this year. Terry couldn't make it, and I was so bummed because I was like, oh, I don't play in any of the events that these other people that I had met the year before play in. I had gotten to know Jamie a lot better, so it was a lot easier to chat with her and meet. And I had met other people too from Gen Con, and because I had started going back to Gen Con and to just other things like in the industry, because I had started going to Gamma, which is an industry only convention. So it was a little bit easier. And of course, I still had my friends from Seattle and any friends that I had met from old privateer press stuff, because again, they were still there. or they had gone, or a lot of those people had gone on to other companies or maybe to other games. And so, we hung out, we played, played some demos, whatever. But I was really feeling the loss of that meetup. And I know that in 2024, we actually hung out a little bit more. I think we just started to really become friends by the end of that convention.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I we just missed each other because you moved to it was right around the time that you moved to Chicago and I
yes,
moved out of Chicago, which was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 and a half, 4,
I
4.
moved to Chicago at the end of
Yeah.
2023. So yeah, so we had just barely missed each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That looking at the timeline is it always throws me off of it feels it's because and this is a key thing with all conventions, but, like, when you have friends who you only see really at conventions, there's something there it's like a time restructuring in my head of, like, I rarely get to see you, and also it feels like I've known you forever. So it's, those conventions, and it's why Adepticon is so important for me, to make sure that I can, see all of the people that I care deeply
Oh,
about.
yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, we just kind of hung out. I know, like at one point you were like, I have to leave because there's a storm coming, and I
Nice! 2 years in a
2 years
row,
in
there
a
was a
row.
storm.
Um, And I was just like, "Oh, yeah." And I was in the area. So for me, it was just taking, rideshare or
Yeah.
a million buses out to Schaumburg
Yes.
from
Yeah.
being inside Chicago. So, yeah, I really felt the loss that year. I mean, I had a great time
Yeah.
regardless. But so then when it started to come around to doing the stuff for 2025, I was like, I reached out to Terry and I reached out to Adepticon and I was like, well, reached out to Adepticon first, who then connected me. We connected more with Terry and we talked about it. And we were going to co host the event because she was like, oh, yeah, I didn't come the last year. So that's why there wasn't one. And I was like, well, I really loved it. I want to make sure it happens again, and let's do this together. And she was like, "Yes, that's great." We even started talking to Atomic Mass Games. They actually sponsored the 2025 one, and this is when we went to Milwaukee. And the Baird Center is amazing. I think it's a
Yeah.
very great convention
Yep.
center. There's so much nearby. You know, yeah, great. Schaumburg had great parking. I don't drive. I'll be that
Yeah.
person
Yep.
who's like, I don't drive and
And
I'm a
also, did
wargamer.
it have great parking? Because honestly, the parking situation,
So bad.
if anybody's been to a Adepticon in Schaumburg, they remember the all-out war it was to get a spot
Mhm.
within the parking of the hotel, and usually you missed it. So if you had a class that you needed to get to in the morning, you had to arrive like an hour or two early
Yeah.
just to like
Oh yeah, there are
I hated it. It was
people circling
so
is
yeah, we say this knowing full well that Adepticon has always been kind of player first in that, like, it's a free con. If you want to go, it's free to
yep,
attend.
I love that.
And so I don't think it exploded in popularity that I think even the people who run it were just like, oh my God, we need a bigger space and looking into options. That's how we landed at
Oh, I mean,
Milwaukee.
it
But
makes sense, right? Like that's the same place
yeah,
that Gen Con was for quite a long time, and that's actually even before
yeah,
the
yep,
expansion of the Baird Center.
yep,
So like
yeah.
I think it's a great spot. Keep it in the Midwest for sure. And and
Mhm.
there's so much
Yeah.
good food. There's tons of hotels. Um, but me and Terry were like, let's do this. But then, and at this point, I had already started to know a lot of people who were streamers, and a lot of the streamers that me and you both know are not cis male. There's
Yeah.
a few,
Yep,
but
yep.
there's a
There's a few, and they're allies, and we love them.
yeah, they're great, like 100%. But like the vast majority of the ones that I have befriended and follow, watch their channels, mostly lurk. I'm so busy lately, and have been for the last year, so I haven't really been able to really connect with them. But it's mostly just
Yeah.
like I'm gonna click on, show the support. Follows are free. We all know that. So for me, it was great. It was like, oh, and I started talking it up. I was like, hey, y'all should come to this thing. It's great. I'm gonna host it, and it's gonna be in a hotel
Yeah.
lobby. The hotel lobby, that's actually where it was in 2023, and it's more relaxed. There's no focus on gaming, so you definitely are talking to people. And we hung out at the Hyatt lobby. And then Terry couldn't make it. So I ended up she was like, "I'm not going." And I was like, "Okay." Oh boy. And I felt a lot of pressure with that one, but it turned out really, really great. We had snacks, we had non-alcoholic drinks. There was a bar nearby because it was at the Hyatt lobby, which was an excellent spot. Because it had everything. And then what was really great too is the War Dolls had their hobby hang ahead of time,
Yeah.
and kind of like
Yep.
held that spot, and kind of
Mhm.
already made it a welcoming spot to start with, or to like show, like be like, hey,
Yeah.
this is the thing. And they were and it kind of just melded into one big thing. And I know a few of us stayed like really, really late. I was really glad I did not have a
Mhm.
tournament.
Not me.
No, not you.
Would not be me.
No tournament in the morning for me, so that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had so many people. For me, I was like, okay, I gotta talk to people. I gotta introduce myself, make people feel welcome, tell people there are snacks, um, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I got this. Turned
Snacks were key.
Yeah, definitely. And it turned out really well, really great. I had people throughout the rest of the weekend, because we do it on Thursday. Yeah, great. It could be on a Wednesday, but not everybody comes to Adepticon on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no.
and
The
so,
date is perfect.
yeah,
Thursday is a great time.
Thursday's great. I would love to do it multiple days, but I gotta do
Yeah.
stuff for myself as well.
Yeah.
And it's really nice on Thursday because it allows people to be like, "Hey, I know this person," and then the rest of the con, you have other people that you can spot at the convention and be like, "This
Yes.
is a person
Yes.
that I know." I can say hi to them, or find out like, "Oh, hey, I have a person that I met on Thursday who's actually in the same event as me on Friday." Like, so it's
Yeah.
something that kind of
Yep.
like an extra thing to look forward to. So yeah, I last year, amazing. It was a really great event. I don't I'm sure you'll probably say I hope that you're gonna say the same thing.
I feel like you've heard it's funny because we've talked about this a
I
lot.
know, but I have to pretend that I haven't for this.
I know, I know. No, I feel like, I my immediate reaction when we realized that, like, you were gonna be running this solo in the sense that, like, Terry was unable to make it for that event, I went into protector mode of, like, "Oh my god, do you need help? Do you want this?" And then I realized, like, I'm gonna be available for help if you need it. And you really didn't need any help. Like you went and were able to connect with Atomic Mass so that we had support for snacks and
Well, that
drinks and
was
everything
that
for,
was Terry.
so that
Terry was a huge behind the
oh
scenes
yeah.
helper with that, and Ross Thompson was
Yeah.
my connection, and that really helped a ton. So, that's not
Yeah.
all that's
But
not
like
all me.
you made that you stop. You made that space your own. It like tripled in size from 2023.
Massive. It was
Um
a
and
huge. I
everybody
did not expect that.
yeah, but like everybody walked away feeling very supported and very, very thankful. Um I remember just kind of like triculating through the crowd that we had, and folks just wanting to be like, oh, thank God I have found someone to talk about this with. I have notes from last year from some of the people that I chatted with of things that I wanted to do this year, because there was a lot that like came up in those conversations that were so positive, that I could walk away feeling very tended to.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I feel like it was just overall, it was just like a great time. And as someone who is not very social, it was nice to have that kind of space where there were antisocial people who were just kind of like, okay, what's your name? Do you want to talk for 5 minutes and then not talk anymore? And I was like, yeah, I do. I do, in fact. And some of those were the best conversations I had.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people who, just kind of hung out and just listened to conversations,
Yeah.
just being
Yep.
involved with people who understood you, right? Like who understood, like, hey, I'm new to wargaming, and you know, I'm non-binary, but
Yeah.
and I don't really know anybody, or there's a lot of people, there's actually a lot of trans people, whether they're out publicly or if they are
Yeah.
not out
Yes.
publicly.
Yeah.
Um, Again, the passing thing, or maybe just not wanting to, do anything about it, and just, there's a whole thing about that. But anyway, there's a lot of people who are on a binary or on any type of spectrum who are welcome there, and it like you could definitely see like people were just really excited. I've kept in touch with I mean, obviously, with my friends who I was like, come to this thing, and they were super excited to do it. They brought their friends. And then we had, of course, there's other people who look at the thing online because it's an official Adepticon event. It's not just something that I'm like, hey, it's a thing. Like, so we had people
Yeah.
who saw it on the schedule, and we're like, oh, hey, what's this thing? I'm gonna show up to
Yep.
it. So it's really interesting to have just a different types of people. And some of them, we had people who worked booths, we had people who were painters, we had people who were gamers, we had volunteers. It runs the whole gamut, really.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which is really my favorite kind of mixer in that, because I really enjoy listening to the different perspectives that I'm not seeing, especially being inside the board gaming industry. I mean, I guess I'll just call it tabletop because I'm also doing TCGs now too. So being within the tabletop
mhm.
industry and getting a peek behind the curtain, for the different ways that people interact with the miniature space, because there were a ton of people who were just like, I just come here to paint. I take painting classes all week.
Oh, totally.
And then yeah, and there's some people, I for a while was only doing competitions when I went there. It's always changing, and some people just like like you said, were volunteering to work it,
Mhm.
and from there was just like, I just want to talk to people. I'm like, that's great. I love that. Let me unload some of this hobby onto you.
Yeah, yeah, it's really great. And so last year I didn't work Adepticon at all, and so it was really nice. I played a ton of Blood Bowl. I ran that event. Blood
Yeah.
Bowl was really close to Fort Wapple, so I got to see all of my painting friends all the time. So that was really fun. And then this year, I am continuing to run my favorite event, the Gender Minority Meetup. I'm
Yep.
I'm super excited about it because it's just like if a convention like Adepticon can welcome this sort of meetup and this type of
Yeah.
space, it's one of the largest miniatures conventions in North America. I don't know about the world, but it's up there, right? It's been going on for such a long time. If they can offer that space as a safe
Yeah.
space for people to come and hang
Yep.
out and be involved, like it just feels great to be a part of that and to work with Adepticon on that. So I'm so excited and looking forward to that again. And again, Atomic Mass is a sponsor, and I got another sponsor with some friends. They actually made us some stickers. So sticker trading and sticker stuff is really, really. If you've never been to Adepticon, stickers are
Yeah.
So
Little
important.
gifties.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody shows up, who brought rocks the one year? I have a rock from somebody that they had tumbled. Minis, people give out minis, that they painted. It's so, gift forward,
Yeah, so,
yeah,
my
yeah.
friends at More Than Dice, which is another, like, podcast, um, they actually, sponsored and got, some stickers for this year, so I'm really excited to have,
Nice.
Gender Minority Meetup stickers. They're, rainbowy, they're cute, basic but fun, right? And
Yeah,
it's kind of a nice like thing to show off, like, and that is stickers are such a big thing at Adepticon. Like, if you go to Adepticon,
yeah,
you are able to get some stickers made of like your logo, your, something fun or whatever. Do it because
yeah,
people
for sure.
trade, and you can do stuff like Matt Yee does his dog. I have a few dog stickers. Oh yeah, they're cute.
Yeah,
There's some people
yeah,
who do like different special ones with like their logo, or they do special rainbow ones with their logo, or every year there's like a different style they do. Um, it's just a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I'm able to actually give out stuff this year for that because the sticker
yeah.
stuff is really
Yeah,
fun. But I'm also excited that we have like snacks again. It was
yep.
really helpful. There were some people who had gluten sensitivities, and we're just super happy to
Mhm.
have prepackaged snacks that made sure that nobody's going to cross contaminate something that's closed, that's
Yep.
individual. So, and then we had a lot of people who were sober, and we're really glad to have a non alcoholic option. There's a bar at the Hyatt, and that's actually where it's going to be again this year. So, Olivia, you'll be able to figure it out really easy. Uh,
Really easy.
and yeah, I'm really excited just to see people again, and just see if there's more people to welcome into wargaming and the hobby because like it's definitely white cis male dominated. There
Yep.
is no
Yep. There's no beating those
no,
allegations.
not at all. But I think
No.
like it's definitely becoming more friendly towards everybody, regardless of who
Yeah,
you are. And I think like little things like this definitely help in one shape or another.
yeah. And I feel like across the board, the folks that, created Adepticon and is running Adepticon, along with, like, a general most of people running events do really care about this and are very receptive of, like, listening to how can we, create safer spaces for any gender minority, because that has, um, really eked its way through. Like if it isn't a safe space and something happens, they're very good about kind of reflecting on that. And the first start is just having a meetup and being able to spot who is safe
Hmm.
with you. Um, and I always walk away from our gender minority meetups and find someone that was at that meetup on the floor and just like locking eyes and being like, "Are you good? I'm good. Thank you."
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I mean, beyond that, I mean, yes, I have that one event that I really love. I'm actually doing two painting classes. I didn't sign up for any games. I think like I'm gonna let some rules shift around a little bit because I usually play Blood Bowl. There's a new edition. I might try to get some demos in. Um,
Yeah.
we'll see. I know that Mount Haven is coming out for Warcrow at Adepticon, so I'm gonna look
Yeah.
and see if I actually want to pick up some dwarves. Um, I've been kind of waiting 2 years for
Their
them.
dwarf minis are really, really good. I remember when we looked those over, and I was pretty stoked about the dwarves.
Yeah, it's the last faction people have been waiting for. So I'm wanting to see. I have some friends from Seattle who are like, play Warcrow, and I'm like, okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see about
Yeah.
what's going on with those. And then, I mean, beyond that, there's tons of other conventions that I either want to go to or I have some. some plans to maybe go to, or hopefuls, right? We'll see what actually happens with all that, but um, for sure, Adepticon is right now. Maybe Gen Con, maybe Origins. Um,
Maybe PAX Unplugged. I was debating going to that one myself just to see folks, but Adepticon really is the main one that's like, I'm going to this
oh yes,
no matter what, I'm
100%.
going.
Like if I had to pick a convention, and I know that my partner would be like, no, pick something else. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would 100% pick Adepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing at Adepticon beyond going to my meetup?
I
Because you're
it's
contractually
wild.
obligated to as my best friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's gonna be snacks, so why would
Oh
I say
wow,
no?
of course.
Uh, no, this year's really different than the last few years that I've been, because every year that I went, it was, like, jam-packed with competitions, and I yeah, the first year, walked away from playing a Gaslands tournament that, left me in tears, like, just physically, uh frustrated and hurt by some of one of the players
Hmm.
that was there. And each year since then, it kind of became a mission for me of like, I am going to show up ultra femme to these competitions, just to be visible, to be a woman in especially like Games Workshop competitions. And I didn't like them. I never really I would go to them,
Hmm.
and every single time I would walk away with at least one like irritating situation of you know cis men kind of being
It's
like
incredibly frustrating.
harder on
It's
me.
incredibly frustrating because, like, I get the text during all these,
Yeah, yeah, you do.
especially in the last year. Um, we text a lot, and I'll get texts throughout the game, and I'm just like, I'm smiling now because I know what happens, but during it,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
do I need to do a circle? Do I need to do a round?
Do I need to come you did come over last year because I was getting really irritated with someone and you came over. Because I think this must have been before I started crying or maybe after I started crying last year, but I just yeah, and, like, as a woman in this space, it's very difficult to, kind of know it's difficult to be in these situations with men where it feels very much like, "Oh, no, am I overreacting? Did I overreact in this moment, or is it really just, you know, am I actually" reality doesn't seem real
Yes.
sometimes in those situations, because you will be gaslit to hell, and you especially if you call it out, which I've gotten much, much better at just, like, calling it out and saying in the moment, like, "Hey, you're making me uncomfortable," or, "Hey, I'm not asking for this energy, can you stop, kind of doing what you're doing?" And I've been met with some frustration over that, where it turns into you're blowing this out of proportion. It's not that big of a deal. To say that to anybody, to
Mhm.
tell anybody that what they're feeling isn't real is kind of wild to begin with. But on the flip side, I did Blood Bowl last year, and there were a few moments that I had with some guys where they straight up said like do you want some advice in this like do you I kind of want to tell you how your move could have been better. And I remember one of the guys I had said like oh no thank you I don't want that in this moment, and he was like okay great no problem, and he stopped the game. I was like hold on time out, I just want to thank you for that, like I don't think you realize how important this moment is, and you just saying okay cool, that was it. That was all you needed to do. That was great. I loved that.
Mhm.
So I'm not doing as many competitions this year because I think I've overdone it, and you hear me every single year walk away going, "I'm not doing this again.
I
I
think
am not
last
gonna
year
play."
you did too many. Um,
I did
yeah,
too many.
my
I did
advice,
7s.
yeah,
Yeah.
you did sevens,
No, I'll say I did
Gaslands,
7s. I did Gaslands.
Kill
No,
Team,
wait.
Kill Team,
No, 7s kill team, doubles kill team, and then the 2-day Blood Bowl
and Super
event.
Bowl. Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and I did painting class somewhere in there at the beginning. It was too
Too
much.
much.
It was too much.
I always recommend to people, you know, do one day where you are not where you can just
Yeah,
shop or play free
yeah,
do free play. Just you I've taken that advice every single day, every single year. Like and like when the years that I was working, my job allowed me to take like the one day for me to play a tournament for myself. So like I would pick
yes.
like a one day thing. That's why I played Judgment one year. And so last
Yeah,
year I did 3 things of Blood Bowl, but I kept my Friday. Yeah, I kept my Friday free, and that made all the difference. Like, I could actually walk the floor, I had a great time, I didn't feel like I missed out on anything, and I know, like, I feel like you felt that way, but, I because you just did too much, and,
I did too much.
now we're going back to the other way, so I think, like, yeah, just that would be my advice to people for Adepticon is like, if you're gonna go, you should just check it out. If you're not gonna play any events or you're not gonna do anything, just go for free. Um, if you live in the Midwest and you're on a train line, it's so cheap.
So easy
And it's
too.
really easy. You don't have to worry about parking. And it's free. Like literally, if I really wanted to, I could take the first train from Chicago to Milwaukee and then take the last one and I could do that easily and just
Yep.
go to the show floor of Adepticon, no problem whatsoever. Have the day, um, because it's only an hour and a half train ride. That's why I said like if you're in the
Yeah.
Midwest, and you
Yep.
like miniatures, there is no reason to not go check it out one of those days because I guarantee you,
Yeah.
if you even work during the week, if you even have work during the weekend, there's Thursday
Yeah.
and Friday. So I yeah, I just really like that. So you're taking and yeah, so you're taking classes this year
Yeah.
instead of
I have
playing.
I am on Jamie Dagger's waitlist because I'm kind of bummed that I'm not doing her 4-color challenge because that is genius, and also the color theory of it all, really excites me. Um, I have an art history degree, and I say that with no amount of confidence because it's like, what it's just a dumb degree, but I really like the kind of theory behind how folks paint their minis. So I'm on her wait list. I'm hoping I get into that. I am taking a longer brush skills class. I
Mhm,
can't remember who that's with, but I need to kind of I've painted in other ways, and miniature painting. I feel like I could get a little bit better about how I'm applying paint with my brush. And then I'm taking a building display boards class with Oscar Lars. And I really, really, coming back to my not painted Treeman, I really want to make a miniatures sized Polly Pocket display board so that I can put, because I tend to paint in pastels and pinks, purples, blues kind of a thing. Um, so I want a display board that basically looks for like a 2-to-1 Polly Pocket case that I can stick different minis on.
mhm.
So I'm gonna figure out how to build a display board. I've never done that
That'll
before.
be fun.
I've this is it's like the first when I got the idea for this, I immediately texted Mer and I was just like, one, I'm sober. Two, this is the best idea I've ever had. I'm going to make Polly Pocket, bake a Polly Pocket. And since then, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So I'm really excited to kind of try my way through this. We're going to see how it goes.
Mhm, mhm.
We're gonna see it through. But yeah, so those are the two main classes I'm taking. I am doing a very short Gaslands tournament because there's a couple more now than there were a few years ago. We'll see how I feel about that one. At the end of the day, I think I really just want to be doing some classes and some time to sit down and like meet up with people.
Right.
So I blocked my schedule for the Gender Minority Meetup because that's and I won't have to go to bed early. I have nothing the next day that's super early, so I can stay up and genuinely just like sit and chat with
Mhm,
people.
mhm.
And the people that I go to Adepticon with are all cishet men, and so it's very nice to just be like, haha, I'm gonna leave you for a little bit and go do this other thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm also saying with my Seattle friends, I this was my first year actually having roommates. I've gotten kind of lucky since I was like did a lot of work, and then last year was kind of like, well, I have this hotel room already, so I'm staying with my friends from Seattle. A lot of them are doing Infinity and Warcrow events, and
Yeah.
but I'm not. I just signed up for the four color uh, with Jamie.
Yep.
I was able to get in the wait list, and I am doing Weathering Gunpla because I really wanted to do the customizing Gunpla, but it's during the Gender Minority Meetup. And
Yes. Yeah, there were a few classes that were during the Gender Minority Meetup,
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, too bad." And that's the problem is I mean, it's a good problem to have. We have a lot of people who are offering a lot of different
there's so
things,
many great
throughout the 4 days.
there's so many great
Yeah,
classes, so many great events. In fact, I should probably go and double check the event list at some point, just to
same.
make sure that I can
I was just thinking
to
it.
sign up for anything else, check my wait list
Yep,
status.
yep.
Um, yeah. Anything else you're looking forward to? You-
You mentioned it earlier, and I forgot the other plan was that I was just gonna kind of walk around and demo some games. There are a few games that I really want to learn more about, um, and why I always show up and can't remember them. Trench Crusade's one. Trench Crusade is that one ties in my religious trauma where I'm like, this could be fun. The miniatures are in the like alternate universe if um was it the Ottoman Empire had I think that's where it started was with the Ottoman Empire and that Jesus is real, which is insane. Um
Yeah, basically,
I need to learn
it's
more
hell
about
on
it.
earth, and it's been happening for a long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and uh, the lore is amazing. It's so interesting, and especially like I do not come from a religious background, but I'm sure as somebody
Mm.
who did come with from that, you will probably find it incredibly interesting to see the parallels
Yeah.
between it. I did talk to the guy who did the art. I of course don't have the name up because we're just chatting.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I talked to him at Adepticon last year, and like the art's amazing. I love it. I love
Yeah.
body horror. It's some
Yes.
weird stuff, and I've actually played
Yep.
Trench Crusade, and it is so much fun. I think
Yeah.
it's a better kill team. I'll just be honest. I
Yes.
got into
Yep.
kill team because I was
Yep.
like, oh, it's small and easy. It is not easy.
I feel like I pushed you into Kill Team, and then right when you're just like, "Okay, I've got a team," I'm like, actually, I don't know about this one
I'll probably paint
anymore."
them up and have them on
Good,
display,
good.
but it is just then I played some Trench Crusade and I was like, oh, this is just a better kill team.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
What else?
Yep.
What
You're
else
not
besides?
wrong.
I mean, Trench Crusade is amazing, and they have a great demo team at Adepticon. If they have the same team that they had last year, a lot of them are from the
Yeah, they were
Midwest,
great.
and they're really,
Yep.
really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other? Do you know of any other games that
Yeah.
you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I keep reminding myself there's a game that I show up every single year wanting to learn, and then I never have the time for it because they typically only did, playthroughs during, hall hours, and I
Mm.
was busy doing other things. Oh my god, it's the cute little ones with, like, the fishies. They've got a little fishy faction. Um, I need to come better prepared for answering what I'm going to do.
That's all right. During editing, I'll
Oh,
just add it in underneath. You'll be like fishy
yeah, yeah,
faction,
yeah.
and I'll put it underneath, and it'll be like
Yeah,
this thing.
this thing, I know that Jamie is friends with,
Oh,
the
Relic. Are you
artist
talking
there.
about Relic Blade?
Relic Blade.
Got it.
Sorry, that's the one, it's Relic Blade.
Relic Blade is
I'm pretty sure there's some fishy faction, right? There's am I wrong on
yeah,
that?
yeah. There's like crab people.
Yeah! Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Relic
So
Blade.
I've been meaning to learn that. I would always do, like, a very quick 5-minute rundown, and I really just genuinely wanna sit
Relic
down
Blade is
and
very
have
cool. The miniatures
yeah,
are really well done.
they're so good.
They're the and Relic Blade, this is gonna be like my hot take that is definitely shared by a lot of other people, is that the miniatures are simple, but the pieces on them are well thought out, so that when you're painting them, the every detail is wonderful versus something where there's a lot of miniatures now, especially with 3D printing. There's just too much detail.
Yep.
And Relic Blade,
Yep.
Relic Blade is
Yep.
has detail, but they're it's perfectly thought out in a way. And it's
Which I think is a very good way to consider, like, how you individually paint too. Like, do you need that much detail versus learning how to paint with less detail and providing that detail via your paint, which I'm hoping my brush skills class will teach me all about.
after Adepticon, we'll check in with Olivia and find
Yeah,
out did that actually help her or not.
we're gonna find out.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but those are the 2 main games that I wanna learn.
yeah, I agree with you. Both of those are excellent,
Thank you.
excellent games. Trench Crusade, I wish I just found more time to play Trench Crusade,
Yeah.
honestly. And Relic Blade, I don't, there's not, I mean, I haven't really like super looked into it if there's like a group in this area. I just don't have the bandwidth to like start a group. I know
And that's the key
firsthand
thing, you know?
how hard it is to start and maintain a community.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
don't have it in me right now. And so I'm really
yep.
just trying to find games that people in my area are playing, and that's partially why I play so much Blood Bowl. Because
Yep.
people
Yep, the
are
Blood Bowl community, God, my favorite community, genuinely. There's so many of us who play, and it's just such a joyful
mm,
game. But it's hard to find the indie games, which are just as good, but if nobody's playing them,
it's it's
do
it's
do you invest the money?
it's
And yeah,
tough, especially when you have friends who are like in different parts of the country. Like I could play one game, and then you'd be like, "I want to play that," but then we maybe will play it maybe together twice, or maybe zero, like Blood Bowl. We've never played against each other.
I also think, like, we are, maybe just, like, slightly opposite in this because I think that you have said in the past that, like, you tend to be, "Will I play this game? Yes, then I will paint the minis." And I tend to be, "Ooh, do the minis excite me?" And I want to paint them even if I don't
I
play.
used to be
And
that way.
usually yes, and so I will go that way of, like, the minis are very exciting, so I will paint them just to, like, have it on hand. Maybe I'll learn it someday, which is case in point of Age of Sigmar. I got all those
Mhm.
minis, and then I'm just like, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah,
But I love
I
those minis.
used to be that way, and that's actually why I had so many minis at one point. I've actually gotten rid of a
Yeah,
lot, but I used to have a ton. It was like, oh well, maybe I'll play this, or I've played it maybe once or twice. And I'm like, oh, but I'm still gonna buy the figures because I like painting them. But I do have
mhm,
to like to paint something um, in
yes,
order to play it. So if I find
yes,
I
key.
have to find a faction that I think is cool to keep
Yeah,
me interested.
yep, yeah.
So now,
There's just a lot.
so
There's a lot. I'm going into Adepticon free this year, so we'll see what I end up. We should have another episode of me being like, "Well, here's what I actually did."
that'll be part of the Adepticon episode where you just see a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
Olivia.
yeah. I would love it if because I think you had talked about maybe bringing, like, microphone and stuff or just doing, like,
Oh, I
videoing
will.
some of this. But I would love for you to check in with me every single morning and every single night and just hear me go, "I don't know. I didn't do it."
Yeah, it may be a really chaotic Adepticon episode, but
Yeah,
yeah, as
it's gonna be
we're
great.
getting close to the end, is there any other like weird things you'd like to talk about miniatures, wargaming, hobbying? Um,
There's always more that I could rant and rave about. I think the key thing that I take away from both having this conversation and kind of being on episode one is just like, to me, the miniature space is all about community. I have I am so thankful that you and I were able to form a kind of community within the hobby, and that being kind of the, icebreaker, as you will, because I am very bad at, being chatty. like when I first meet someone, because it's like, I don't know, you don't want to hear, you've heard some crazy stuff from me. So it's very nice to have walked away with new community, and every single year gaining another person and another couple of people to connect with, where it starts off with minis and then it expands much farther than that.
Yes.
Um, and that really is like the key thing for me, and I'm very thankful to be here. I'm very thankful to be chatting.
Yeah, the community is huge. Like, I got back into miniatures to partially get me away from playing video games as much as I was. I was just
Yeah,
like, I love video games still. I still play some, but I'm definitely nowhere near the amount that I was playing, and it kind of helped me get out of it. But you don't have a tabletop community or people to play with unless you have a
yeah,
community, and it's so important to find people that are, in your area, who play the same games as you, or who are open to playing the same games as you. Because I know, like, I have some friends who are some real awful enablers, and I've bought in some miniatures games that I have never played, just because they're like, let's buy this, and I'm like, sure, let's drop $100+ on a faction.
yeah,
um, so I think that's really important to find the people who get you, who,
yeah,
regardless of, whatever's going on. Like, for me,
yeah,
I was always welcome in my group of friends. They were all men. And I didn't have an issue ever doing that. And then, like, even when I went to Seattle, I mean, yes, Seattle is fairly, like, progressive on the outside. That is not a thing for this type of interview. But I never had a problem finding people. And even when I identified as female, I had no issues whatsoever. And I think it was just because of the areas I had grown up in, the friends that I had made. I didn't make any friends who were like, "Oh, you can't do that. That's for boys." I never had
mhm,
anybody who said you can't do that. And so, and it's actually partially why I didn't transition for years, is because I was this person, this woman in the gaming space who ran tournaments, who ran leagues, who I went to the first 6 lock and loads of for Privateer Press over when they were in Seattle and Bellevue. So, like, I was a press ganger. Like, it was a big part of me, and I held off for a really long time because I was like, well, there's a positive person here, but there's more,
yeah,
but there's got to be more to it, as I got to be happy as well. So that's kind of why I'm like, oh, I'll just try to connect people in a different way. But I've never had issues finding that type of community. I've always found that wargamers are the easiest ones to become friends with. They always want to play games. um, they
yeah,
always want to talk about what's going on, even if I don't
yeah,
want to hear about uh, Abaddon the Betrayer. I don't want to hear about him, but you know what? They have something to tell you.
yeah,
You could tell that I
yeah.
used
They
to hang out
do.
at
They
Games
really
Workshop
do.
stores, can't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I should have. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna add it at the end. The one last thing was I went overseas for the first time. I went to the UK. Um, And I was so excited to be in England and be like, oh my God, I will find a Warhammer store in every single city. I am going to go in there. I'm just going to see what it's like out in England. Constantly were closed. They were constantly closed by the time I could go roam the city, and it wasn't that late. And then the one that I did end up finding in Scotland, I walked in, and there was a woman behind the front counter, and I walked up to her, and I just want to be like, "Hey, I'm from I'm from the USA, but I just wanted to acknowledge like I'm so excited that there's a woman running the store in this moment. Like it's very exciting to see her here." And she let me know that she was a she I think she was from Florida, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I came here on like." Whether it was student exchange or program for college, she's like, I just didn't want to leave, and so it's really important for me to have women in Warhammer, women gaming, and that was maybe my favorite connection that kind of came through this hobby, where it was just kind of a brief 10-minute conversation, and we both just walked away feeling very good about our presence here. And that's kind of how I feel
Hmm.
in this moment of like having these conversations is key. Uh, because we don't know what everybody else is going through. And so it's nice. It is nice to have these moments.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and people are like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Why should that?" And I was like, "Well, that kind of thing just mattered." And I think
Yeah,
the people who say that don't understand why it does or does not matter. So, yeah,
yeah. So let's just keep making the hobby safe and showing up as safe people, and I will feel good about that.
yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Good job. You did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that wraps up my first awkward, maybe great. We'll see how
Great,
uh,
great.
we'll see how it all works out. And as we go, the episodes are going to get better and better each time. This won't be the last time that you see Olivia. She'll
No.
we'll definitely I definitely plan on doing an Adepticon um, recording. Probably
Yeah,
something kind of wild, maybe weird, some weird like 5 minute interviews. But yeah, we'll definitely see more of that. And I'm really glad that somebody, hopefully, people actually listen to this episode and are excited about it and want to hear more. So, all right, thank you.
yeah.
Thanks.
And they can find you on socials, and they can't find me on
It's
you can find
true.
me on LinkedIn.
Wow, if you want to become a professional, you'll have to find her. But yeah,
Yeah,
all right. Well, thank you for joining me on this mini journey with me
yeah.
and Olivia. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.